the channel. I'm back to break down this 11-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Before we get into the breakdown, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss any new content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. I'll be here all MLB DFS season long, breaking down these MLB DFS slates to help you guys become better MLB DFS players and help you guys win some money night in and night out. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Really does greatly help me, and I guarantee I'll be putting in maximum effort in these videos. And then if you are interested in some further content, I do offer a premium package that's linked below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use when building my own MLB DFS lineups. And lastly, don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. Kind of nailed it last night, I guess. We went with pinch hit home run, I guess you could say, with the third baseman Patrick Wisdom of the Chicago Cubs, but that doesn't necessarily count. Typically speaking, I'll go ahead and I'll give you guys a replacement home run call. Yesterday, things were crazy. I wasn't able to get to that with all the content and all the other stuff that I provide. But anyways, enough of the rambling. Let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. As always, I'd like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts, and the top guy on the slate today is going to be Nestor Cortes, taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Comes with a 31.2% K overall, 32.1% K rate against righties, and a 29% K rate against lefties. Only problem is going to be a workload concern when it comes to Cortes, and you're looking at his price tag over here on DraftKings as far as where they have him priced at 6-1. And if you look at his recent game logs, you can see he's been somewhere around 50 to 60 pitches or so for the most part. And for that reason, I mean, great numbers as far as strikeout stuff and all that stuff. I just don't think he's going to have the longest leash in the world, and for that reason, it's a little bit scary going to Cortes today. I think there's going to be some better options to be going to that could actually go out there and really provide you with a longer performance. Tanner Houck taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. This game is not going to be a very long one, so being that it's a doubleheader and it's a 7 innings game on a doubleheader, it's only going to be featured on DraftKings over here, and I think that for that reason, it's going to be kind of hard to be mentioning him as well. I mean, if he has enough price tag and upside that you're feeling as you're building your lineups, maybe you go to him. He does have pretty good stuff overall, as you can see here so far in his performances. But just keep in mind that's only a 7 innings pitched game. Zach Wheeler is going to be the first guy that we're really discussing here as far as the long leash and really top option. A 30.4% K overall, 12.7 swinging strike rate, 29% K rate against righties, and a 31.7% K rate against lefties, and very good as far as ground ball, fly ball slugging. Really completely the whole package as far as ground ball, fly ball, everything you can look for. And he's taking on a Washington Nationals team today that, while they aren't the worst in the world, it's definitely a team that Zach Wheeler can handle. He definitely has strikeout upside. He's 10-6 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's priced at 10-3. So he's definitely going to be a top option for me for sure. But second on this, we have Tyler Mahle taking on the Chicago Cubs, who are a team that strikes out a lot more. 29.2% K overall, 26.2% K rate against righties, and a 32.7% K rate against lefties. So also very good stuff. And as mentioned, the matchups are really going to supply us with some strikeout upside. Still pretty good hitting weather in Wrigley, unfortunately. 80 degrees, looks like 8 mountain winds blowing out to the left or so. So that's a little bit less than ideal. But overall, I do think that the Chicago Cubs team is one you can continue to target with those strikeouts. And Mahle's price pretty friendly on FanDuel at 7-3 and over on DraftKings 10-2. So specifically on FanDuel, you're definitely getting a good discount on him for the amount of upside that he has. Lucas Giolito taking on the Kansas City Royals, a team that really hasn't been striking out all that much, but when you're looking at this guy that has a 14.9% swinging strike rate, tops the slate by a large margin, really doing a good job of getting those swings and misses this year. 28.2% K rate overall, a 26.6% K rate against righties, and a 29.8% K rate against lefties. So, although the Kansas City Royals aren't the best matchup in the world from a strikeout aspect, they also aren't the most threatening lineup in the world. And they're starting to get some guys healthier again that do have a higher strikeout rate. Guys like Jorge Soler, Ryan O'Hearn's in the lineup. So, I'm going to continue to say that it's a little bit less than an ideal matchup. But I do think that it is getting better as we go along here. There's getting some more strikeout bats in that lineup, so you got to like him. Andrew Heaney taking on the Colorado Rockies, 27.9% K overall, 12.9 swinging strike rate, 31% K rate against righties, and a 19.6% K rate against lefties. Has not been the best at all this year, but we do like to target these Colorado Rockies on the road. They're in LA. They definitely do struggle on the road. And we look at Andrew Heaney's most recent performances. You can see the last time out, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks through 7 innings pitched. If he can go ahead and do that again, you'll be real happy with that performance. So, although he's not the best pitcher in the world, although he's had not the best season. We love targeting Colorado on the road. I think this is a spot that he could definitely go up there and do a good performance, and we're getting him at a discount because of his recent struggles. So it all kind of matches up there. Tyler Magle taking on the Atlanta Braves, 27% K overall, a 28.8% K rate against righties, and a 24.5% K rate against lefties. He is a very simple guy to figure out so far. We got to really target him against right-handed heavy lineups because he's really good against righties, but not so good against lefties. And the Atlanta Braves do have a 3.8 implied run total. And the Atlanta Braves only have about, well, actually, they're starting to get more left-handed heavy here. So it's looking at about 5 lefties are going to crack the lineup. And, so that's a pretty good blend. But overall, the fact that the Braves have a 3.8 implied run total, it's in New York as far as Citi Field's concerned. It's a great pitching environment. Pulling up the chart as far as ballpark environment that I always like to show you guys in Citi Field. A lot of red going on across the field. So we always like to target those pitchers there. And I definitely think that it's going to be a good spot for Magle. In the mid-range, we have Walker Buehler taking on the San Francisco Giants, another team that really doesn't scare us all too much. However, I will say San Francisco has a surprising amount of pop and good numbers this year that people may not know. Thing is, it's in San Francisco. It's not the best hitting environment, and Buehler is really good. So I'm still going to have interest here. A 26.4% K overall, 26.9% K rate against righties, and a 25.9% K rate against lefties. And as mentioned, in San Francisco, you can't get much better as far as a pitching ballpark. So, as always, one thing I always talk about is I will be keeping an eye on K-props as far as Vegas is concerned. Keep an eye on how those are shaking out and what kind of upside we're expecting. We do have a few other options here for sure. Things start to get down pretty quickly, but Madison Bumgarner taking on Texas, Max Kranick taking on Milwaukee, both teams that strike out a lot, so I want to go ahead and highlight these guys real quick. Bumgarner, 22.8% K overall. The hard contact has been terrible. He's really been bad except for against lefties, and for Kranick, he's really been bad except for against righties, pretty much. So as far as Milwaukee and Texas here, they're just not the greatest lineups in the world. They strike out a bunch. For that reason, I think these guys are both going to be viable. They're a little bit on the riskier side. I mean, Bumgarner hasn't been the best, of course. And then as far as Kranick's concerned and what we've seen out of him so far on the season, we can see it's been a limited amount of pitches is the only problem. 70 pitches, right around 70 pitches the last few times out. Now, keep in mind, he also didn't exactly put on the greatest performances, but still, I think that they could have kept him out there a little longer if they wanted to, so the pitch count's a little concerning to me. Bumgarner, on the other hand, I know if they can get him to go deep in the game, they will, so I do think that he's a interesting option taking on Texas. He's been right around 80 pitches a game, too. But I think they'll let him go deep if he can find his groove here. And I'm not too worried about it. So that is my overall breakdown as far as pitching is concerned. Going ahead and transition over to bat. As always, I like to go ahead and start my sheet by Sierra, skill or active ERA from worst to best. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in the season, how good they're expected to be in the future. And the worst guy on the slate is going to be Zach Davies taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Ground ball, fly ball stuff has been terrible. Hard contact stuff has been terrible. He's given up a .413 slugging to righties, a .373 slugging to lefties. Surprisingly, has been a lot better against lefties, but at the same time, overall, he's just not striking anyone out. He's got a walk issue. He's looked really ugly. So there should be plenty of traffic on the base, plenty of opportunities. And for that reason, you got to like the Cincinnati Reds stack today. Jonathan India, Jesse Winker, Tyler Stevenson, Joey Votto, Eugenio Suarez, Tyler Naquin, Aristides Aquino. Plenty of power to go around and speed 1 through 7 in this lineup. And Kyle Farmer in the 8th spot also hasn't been terrible either. So, like the Cincinnati Reds today for sure. Chichi Gonzalez taking on the Los Angeles Angels. He's not good. The Colorado Rockies bullpen's not good. He doesn't strike anyone out. He doesn't walk anyone, so the ball's going to be put in play early and often. Gives up a .581 slugging to righties and a .461 slugging to lefties. Just really bad. So the Angels are going to be obviously a viable stack. They're pushing almost 6 runs implied run total. David Fletcher, Shohei Ohtani, Justin Upton, Jared Walsh, Jose Iglesias, Brandon Marsh, Max Stassi, Adam Eaton, Jack Mayfield. Could definitely be going to these guys. Honestly, they do have quite a bit of pop in this lineup. Just a lot of strikeouts, but Ohtani has plenty of pop. Justin Upton has plenty of pop. Jared Walsh has plenty of pop. Iglesias not so much. Brandon Marsh has some pop. Max Stassi has some pop. Eaton, Jack Mayfield. I mean, Fletcher and Iglesias are really the two that you're looking to that don't have the greatest amount of power in the world, but it doesn't matter because they can still get on base and, rack up those fantasy points. So, Angel stack going to be interesting today. We have Jordan Holloway taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Ground ball, fly ball stuff is not good. Gives up a .212 slugging to righties and a .333 slugging to lefties. So, while he hasn't been the greatest overall. He's actually not giving up a lot of slugging to either side of the plate. So it's a little bit ironic, a little bit of conflicting reports here as far as, the data. But overall, I'd say he still doesn't scare me the most. The Orioles, it's in Camden Yards, always a great hitting environment to targets as far as Baltimore's concerned. So no issues with you going here. Green across the board as far as home runs. And, yeah. I mean, I think that the Orioles are definitely a viable stack today. I definitely think the Miami Marlins are a viable stack as well. We'll get to them. But Chris Bubic taking on the Chicago White Sox, another guy we can be targeting. Ground ball, fly ball stuff really isn't the greatest. A 474 slugging unit to lefties, a 556 slugging unit to, 474 giving up to righties and a 556 giving up to lefties. And the Chicago White Sox are a team that we love to target when they're taking on bad left-handed pitching, and I think this is going to be a tremendous spot for them tonight. Tim Anderson, Andrew Vaughn, Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez back in that lineup. Big Bat, Yohan Moncada, Adam Engel, Bailey Hamilton, Denny Mendeck. All those guys at the bottom of the order have been a lot better against left-handed pitching as well. Definitely a team I love targeting against lefties. Definitely a team I'm going to have interest in tonight. Jordan Lyles taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've been a team that hasn't been the greatest all year long, but Jordan Lyles is that bad. Ground ball, fly ball stuff is terrible. The hard contact stuff is terrible. A 565 slugging unit to righties, a 429 slugging unit to lefties. I don't know that I can really name one good thing about his repertoire right now. So the Arizona Diamondbacks definitely going to be in play. They don't have the best lineup in the world, but it's on the road. The Texas bullpen's not the greatest. The Texas ballpark's a great ballpark to hit in. Cole Calhoun, Pavin Smith, Eduardo Escobar, Christian Walker, Asdrubal Cabrera, David Peralta, Josh Van Meter, Nick Ahmed, and Dalton Varsho. I think you can stack them up 1 through 9. I definitely think they can get the job done in this particular matchup, so no issues with the Arizona stack. Patrick Corbin taking on Philadelphia. He's very easy to break down. Target him with right-handed power. Ground ball, 5 stuff isn't the greatest. A 507 or 506 slugging unit to right-handed hitting. So these Philadelphia Phillies righties are definitely going to be viable. And then we also have a guy in Bryce Harper in the middle order that does pretty good lefty-lefty, so don't leave him out of your stacks. A 4.98 implied run total. Gene Segura, JT Realmuto, Andrew McCutchen, Rhys Hoskins, Alec Boehm, Ronald Torreyes, Luke Williams. No issues stacking up the Phillies today. Max Kranick taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Ground ball, fly ball stuff across the board is not good. A 3.9 slugging against righties and a 4.23 slugging against lefties. Really hasn't been the most impressive so far. I said you can go ahead and pitch him against Milwaukee. I do think that's true, but also looking at his numbers across the board, I think the Milwaukee stack could be viable. The Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen doesn't really scare us. Milwaukee had a good game yesterday. Colton Wong, Willie Adames, Omar Narvaez, Avisail Garcia, Rowdy Tellez, Luis Arias, Lorenzo Cade, and Jackie Bradley can stack them up for sure. We got Jorge Lopez taking on Miami. I'd already mentioned. No issues to go to Miami. A 450 slugging up to righties. The ground ball 5 stuff's pretty good against lefties. The same thing, but a 500 slugging given up. So hasn't been giving up the most amount of fly balls, but has been giving up a lot of hard contact, a lot of slugging, and I think that in this ballpark, Miami could really get the ball airborne anyways and go deep in a few of these and get the ball in the gap. So Miguel Rojas, Starling Marte, Jesus Aguilar, Adam Duvall, Lauren Diaz, Brian Anderson, Isan Diaz, Jorge Alfaro, Maggie Sierra. I really have no issues 1 to 9. If we can get to the bullpen, of course, the favorites would be guys in the middle order with the power. So Jesus Aguilar, Adam Duvall, really. I mean, Starling Marte, it goes without saying. Diaz, Anderson, Diaz, right in that range. Adrian Hauser taking on Pittsburgh. He is very good against righties for the most part. Against lefties is where it dips down a little bit, but he still doesn't give up a lot of fly balls, and the Pittsburgh lineup isn't really good, so probably a no from me. The New York Yankees taking on Michael Wacha. He is a reverse splits pitcher, a right-handed pitcher that really struggles against right-handed hitting, so really like the righties. A 563 slugging, giving up 50% hard contact rate, 369 WOBA, 44.2% ground ball rate, and it's kind of been the story of his career. He just really can't do all that good against right-handed hitting. And for that reason, I do think that the Yankees stack could be definitely an interesting one. I mean, that's where their strong suit is, those right-handed power bats. DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, Gleyber Torres, Gio Urshela. It's in Tampa Bay, which really isn't the best hitting environment. The Yankees only have a 4.05 implied run total, though. So maybe they don't get the ownership that they typically would deserve on this spot, actually. And we can feel good about targeting the Yankees today. So I don't hate that at all. Madison Bumgarner taking on Texas. He's just really been bad against both sides of the plate. I mentioned maybe being able to pitch him, but let's be real, you could definitely stack against him too. And it's not just against righties, it's against lefties too. You could argue he's been worse against lefties, just the K rate's up against lefties. But Texas, definitely good. Kenneth Fafella, Eli White, Adolis Garcia, Joey Gallo, Curtis Terry, Andy Ibanez, David Dahl. Once again, Not the most talented lineup in the world, but with the circumstances, the Bumgarner, I do think they're a viable stack. And then as we continue along here, things start to get a little bit less interesting. Steven Matt's taking on Boston's a guy that really have no issues targeting. Just keep in mind it's only a 7 innings game, and that's only featured on the DraftKings slate. But the Red Sox righties that have a bunch of power, no issues there. And then things start to really not be that interesting. Honestly, Giolito, Molly, and Heaney would be the ones that you could target from a hard contact aspect. Left on the slate, and they're all easy to target with right-handed hitting. I shouldn't say easy. They all have high K rates, but if you're going to target these guys, they give up a lot of hard contact, fly balls to right-handed hitting. So the Royals, Cubs, and Rockies, if you're going to anyone, you want to go to the right-handed bats against these guys. So those would be the last guys that I'm mentioning. Keep in mind, not my favorite options, but more sneaky options, and those are the options you need to take down some tournaments sometimes. So those right-handed bats on those teams. So, with that being said, that is my overall breakdown of this slate today. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Andrew Vaughn taking on Chris Bubic. I mentioned my interest in the Chicago Whites right-handed power bats against his stuff. Really not scared overall. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's not good enough. Like 474 slugging, giving up to right-handed hitting with a 357 WOBA. And we're looking at what he's reliant on. Very reliant on the fastball change-up combination. As far as the fastball, he'll go to that about 49% of the time against right-handed hitting. And Andrew Vaughn crushes that pitch. A 364 ISO with a 435 WOBA. And the secondary pitch for Bubic that he's really reliant on is the changeup. Goes to that about 36% of the time. And Vaughn crushes that pitch. A 273 ISO with a 322 WOBA. Love this spot for Andrew Vaughn. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Andrew Vaughn, get him in your lineups, and that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.